Hello, welcome back to the channel. My name is Spike, and in today's video we're going to be taking on a GTR2 race using this vintage Toyota Corolla. We're going to be taking on a 20-minute sprint race of Suzuka Circuit, and we've got 20 opponent AI cars set to 100% strength, and we have set the aggression to psychotic. We've also accelerated the fuel consumption, so we should have one pit stop in this race, which should give us a bit more of a strategic element going on. So the strategy for this one is to undercut our opponents with an earlier pit stop. I don't know how well it's going to work, but that's the plan. We'll see how we get on. We're going to load our undercut strategy here. So as the camera pans down the grid, we are all set for this one, and we get to see this car model and the liveries and all of their glory. This is a community made mod, and I shall try and link it down in the description because it is brilliant, and I think it's definitely worth driving if you haven't already tried so. So here we go, we're about to work our way up from the back of the grid, hopefully towards a podium finish. And I'm going to skip the formation lap because it can take a bit of an age to get around here with all the AI going slowly. So here we go, we've got a green flag. P21. Can we make something happen here? As we come towards turn one, got to be super careful around sector one. We've got a car twisting already. This is the psychotic nature of this AI on this setting. But yeah, I was saying we've got to be super careful in sector one because the camber of the road alongside this car can kind of induce a bit of oversteer, which can see us come off the track and towards barriers, which of course we don't want. And I'm thinking that with this strategy, if we can try and work our way in towards the top 5 by the time we need to pit, hopefully we should be in a good position for our second stint. Possibly good enough to win the race. Definitely want a top 5 out of this one. Oh, just accidentally double shifted down there into first, which almost sent us wayward. A bit of a recovery there. So yeah, this car is great fun to drive. It does have a tendency to oversteer rather, as we come around this hairpin. And there's a few spots on the track where that can be a bit of an issue. One of them being sector 1 with the camber and the undulation and that left to right motion that shifts the weight of the car around fairly aggressively, and then also this spoon curve here can be a bit tricky to keep the tyres stuck to the track. It has a tendency to want to slide out here as we exit the spoon curve, but because of the traffic in front there we were fairly slow, so not a problem that time. Also, we maybe could have done with adjusting the gear ratios, because I think we'll find in sector 3 along this sort of back straight and actually along the home straight as the lap concludes into the start of the next lap, the 5th gear will top out. This is a 5-speed gearbox, so we've got no more headroom on that. Well, that was damn good, managing to undercut a few cars as we finish lap 1 there. Not a bad move. But yes, as I was saying, we'll I think 5th gear tops out quite promptly, and I have this I feel like the need to shift up again, but of course it's a 5-speed, so there's no gears there to go into, so maybe could have done with adjusting the ratios, as we've got another AI car sliding on turn 1. It's that camber, it's vicious. Getting a good demonstration of this car's tendency to slip and slide, and I think we might see some more of that. Hopefully we don't become a victim of it. Got a feeling we'll have a few cars DNF throughout this one. So yeah, we're rocking the deep dish wheel rim for the first time, which feels great. It's lacking in terms of paddle shifters, but it's okay because we've got our sequential shifter on hand. I don't know why I chose this wheel in particular for this car. It's probably not anything like what would have been in this car in real life, but just like the idea of having a big kind of steering wheel in front of me for this one. And I'm planning to do a similar video to the Spa one I did in GTR2, where I run a 1 hour race with time accelerated, kind of do a mock of the Suzuka 300 using the Super GT cars, thinking of driving the old school Honda NSX to that one, but figured that it would be a good idea just to reacquaint myself with this track in a slightly more tame car. I don't know that I've actually featured this track on the channel yet. It's a great one, and it's nice to have a bit of a change after driving Spa so much. I feel like I've done a lot of Spa and a lot of Donington as well in the last couple of months, so just to have a bit of a change of scene is refreshing. And I definitely think the first sort of 10 to 15 cars will be fairly straightforward to get our way around, and in fact we're already up into P6, so proving my own statement there with that pass as we come out of our second lap. P6, and we're in a good position here. It depends on how well our strategy works. If we can box earlier than the AI, we might be on to a winner as we get another couple of cars going off in turn 1, which brings us up to P4. So we've made up a huge amount of ground in the opening 5 minutes of this race. Just got to keep an eye on our fuel levels. Don't want to miss our stop and then have to fuel conserve or potentially risk running out of fuel on track, because we are in a good position here. We've got 3 cars battling ahead of us, which will hopefully invite us to close that gap down. It's about a second and a half right now to the podium, so if we can sort of hold this position or improve on it by the time we make our stop, we should, in theory, come out in a really good place for our second stint. This could be a golden strategy for this one. Coming up towards the hairpin. Too wide. And we're up into P3 already. This is going very well so far. We might even be able to take the race lead before making our stop. We've got maybe a lap or two before we have to pit for our fuel top up. We'll keep the tyres to prevent our stop taking an age, but we're going to need a splash and dash to get ourselves through this one, I think. Be interesting to see if any of the cars try and run a no stop, and whether that will lead to some DNS. We're up into the lead. Feels like we made fairly short work of that. Made our way past 20 cars in the first 3 laps. So we can keep our composure here, manage our pit stop well. Currently running a 2:29 lap time. I think we can get a 2:27 out of this without the traffic ahead of us and with less fuel in the tank. We'll see if we can bring that lap time down. Also don't want to become a victim of turn 1, as we've seen. As you're coming into the S's, got to be careful not to, it's like left and right, the weight shifts through the car and it feels like it could lose grip. Just going to lift, especially on this one as it comes over this lip here, and leaving it in third on this final left-hander up the hill climb, because it does drop the revs a little bit climbing this hill. Up into fourth as we get over the top of that one, and this next turn is probably my favourite one in the circuit, just because it's high speed and it's got a nice bit of camber to it. And we've got a 3-second gap to P2 behind us. So providing we've got our strategy right, we should come out in a good position here. I think we can go for one more lap before we box though. Just keep an eye on that fuel level. We've got 17 litres in the tank right now. Just got to be careful now not to get complacent and make mistakes. There is an ever-present danger of losing grip with this car. Other than a small lip on the boot, there is no aero in the mix. Just mechanical grip. Oh, a lot of curb there. Will this be a 227, I wonder? That could be enough. I think so. It could be faster maybe. 226.5. Got a new fastest lap. Excellent work. And we can probably afford to just drive a bit safer now. We've got a bit of a margin, 4.5 seconds. And then it's just a case of whether our strategy is going to work out for us. So if you are new to the channel and a fan of old school sim racing, or indeed sim racing in general, then do consider subscribing. I'm approaching that first big milestone of 100 subs, so to get over the line with that one would be awesome. So any support would be greatly appreciated. Just coming into the hairpin a bit too quickly, but dominating the race so far. Got to remember to take our stop here. We're down to 10.5 litres of fuel, so, and this is where we'll start to see whether this plan is going to come together. Dropped off a bit in pace from our last lap, but 7 seconds up on the car behind, and if we have a quick stop here we might come out, I don't know, maybe still in the top 10. I don't know, depends on the traffic behind, I guess. Here we go. Now, because of the lack of buttons on the wheel, I don't have a button map for my pit limiter, and maybe I've just come in a bit too quick there. Hopefully I don't get punished for that one. And I don't know what the speed limit for the pit is in GTR2, so I'm just going to keep it slow. I presume if it's flashing like that, that's a good thing, I hope. And as we have our fuel topped up, we'll get a really good look at the livery from behind. Just got to remember to hit the brakes there, or maybe just overshot the box, and I'm going to save some time by keeping the same tyres. And here we go, having our top up. I don't think this will take long to get the fuel in the tank ready to finish this race. Seeing all that traffic behind, so we're definitely boxing it earlier than the AI for the most part from what I can see. Yeah, we're back at the back of the pack again in P21. 21 seconds in the pit. No penalty for speeding though, so that's good. Oh, we've got a car again struggling with turn 1 up into P20. So it's just going to be a case now of seeing when we come past the pit lane again how much ground we make back up in terms of track position. I'm hoping we've got this right and that these AI cars don't manage to run through without a stop. I reckon they might try it, but I'm sure even if we filled up and conserved fuel we would have run out. Just have to wait and see. I hope we've got this one right. Feels a bit strange right now because we are out in a bit of a no man's land on our road and don't really have any traffic behind. We've got the car behind is 50 seconds behind and the car ahead is 16 seconds ahead, so we are sort of out on our own. A bit of a lone wolf, maybe the only car to adopt this strategy. Got to be careful on the spoon curve not to induce oversteer and come off. I reckon we can take this kink in the road here without lifting. Trying to use that 100 board as a brake market. Maybe I can go a bit after that because I'm slowing down too early. So this is going to be an interesting moment to see what ground we can make up as we come past the pit lane. So we've gone from P21 to P12, so a good bunch of the AI cars there in the pits. But then I suppose a fair amount of cars opting to pit even later, which is going to be interesting because we've only got 4.5 minutes left, so will they have time to pit and make up ground if they need to? Oh, there we go, there's the understeer. Oh god. Sorry, oversteer. It's that camber on that bit of track there. Is that going to cost us? I don't know. First big mistake. Luckily managed to stop it from spinning, but couldn't keep it on the road and making contact with the barrier. Just getting a tad bit complacent. And now we've got a car behind. And we're starting to get a bit scrappy. Luckily, I don't think we lost a huge amount of time there. Oh. Well, I suppose 10 seconds. Looking at the split in the top right. It's not ideal. But we did have a bit of a margin when we came into pit, so maybe we built up enough to allow ourselves to have a mistake. Just got to be sure not to compound that now, and I'm feeling a bit nervous. I'm just tapping the brakes as we come through the spoon curve for the first time in the race. Normally just lift and feather the throttle through there. And it's going to be interesting to see if more cars will be in the pit as we come past the pit lane again. Oh, that's maybe a bit late on the brakes. see what happens to our position as we start our next lap up into P5. Got a car just exiting the pits in front of us. So, got to be careful in sector 1 this lap, don't want to make a mistake again. This is where it happened, just the oversteer. Camber in the road, catching us out. And we've got a car ahead, about 2 seconds in front, that we're going to need to try and catch. Maybe shitting down a bit too early into that turn. I think there'll be enough time for another lap after this one. But I don't know whether that mistake is going to have cost us our podium challenge here. I think we can possibly get past this car in the last sector. But then it'll be interesting to see where the top 3 are, whether they are in the pits, whether they've gone the whole race without a stop, I don't know. Oh, hello. So that looks to me like a couple of cars there have bailed off with a lack of fuel. That's 3 cars we've seen. Is that a 4th car? So clearly some AI trying to run this whole race without the stop, and it's handed us track position. That number's changing in the top left from P1 to P2. I'm not sure which one it is. I think we'll find out as we come across the line. But this could be the end of the race. It's unclear to me at the moment. P2. I think we're going to go one more lap. We have. And I think we've passed P1. He was in the pit getting more fuel. And we'll see as the race ends how many cars have DNF'd having run out of fuel. And it looks like even with our mistake here in sector 1, the strategy has worked out for us. Just got to be super cautious. Got a car 10 seconds behind, so another mistake like we made earlier, and that could cost us. But it's in our hands. The last go round the hairpin. Leaving it in second that time just to see how it would feel in terms of the exit speed. Have been using first there for the most part. And the margin to the car behind has increased to 12.5 seconds. So providing we don't do anything really daft, we should have the win in the bag. And I think that's down to the first 2 or 3 laps just cutting through the field really efficiently and getting ourselves out of traffic's way, especially on turn 1 where a lot of cars have slid off into the sand. And we're coming onto the home straight for the first time in P1 in this old school Toyota Corolla. And we are across the line, checkered flag. I think we'll run our cooldown lap. And check out the results. But yeah, great fun. It's really engaging, this sim. Racing the AI on this it's interesting because they behave strangely, and in a good way. They have like a human quality to them. You know, mistakes on turn 1. Clearly a few of the cars have had fuel problems, so the miscalculation of the strategy just gives it a human feel. Maybe I'm just saying that because I've come out at the top of the field from the back. But yeah, I think we're going to start to incrementally just turn up the dial on that difficulty meter. They're currently set to 100%. Well, I wonder if I crank it to 105 for the next one. But yeah, we'll finish our cooldown lap and we'll have a look at the results. We'll see exactly what happened to some of those AI cars as we came to the end of that race. Bailing off the track. There was one quite close to us in front near the end that just took a beeline to the left. I didn't check the number though, so maybe you know, it should say in the results what's happened to what cars. It'll either be a fuel or a DNF, although sometimes it can tell you specifically what's happened mechanically with the car. But yeah, super fun this race, and yeah, the AI is just so real feeling, and it puts a lot of modern sims to shame, really. Although that being said, I think the AI model in this has been adjusted in their HQ anniversary patch, so it's not strictly the model that the game released with, but that being said, it's awesome. Come into the pit lane and get a glance here and see if any of the other cars are bots. So we've got, by the looks of it, a couple of cars already in. So whether they've retired, they could be the retired cars actually, because all the other cars will be on their cooldown still. So looks like there are like 4 or 5 DNFs there in garages already. So we bring ourselves to a stop. Amazing, we managed to get the win, which I'm a little bit surprised by, based on the fact that we started right from the back, but I think efficient in the opening few laps, like I said before. So here we can see the race results, managing to come home in P1, and we can see we've got 5 cars here DNFing or running out of fuel mid-race, and you can see they ran out of fuel on lap 6, which goes to show if we managed to complete 8 laps with a stop, that a no stop was not going to be viable for that race. So glad that we calculated that and came in for the splash and dash. And I think undercutting the traffic worked in our favour because we managed to have a lot of space on track, and the work we did in the opening 2 or 3 laps really put us in a good position for that one. Looking at the best lap times, managed to pull off a 1:26, which was the second quickest lap time by 0.2 in this race, so not bad there either. So I think that'll just about do it for me today. If you enjoyed the video, then do consider leaving a thumbs up down below. Otherwise, have a wonderful rest of your day, and I shall see you in the next one.